Go.
We're late, very, very late. Sorry guys, we're live again with Let's Talk About Ice on the show from headquarters in Queensland. So I hope that if you're online now that you are pressing share on your Facebook because you don't know whose life you can help today by sharing these videos, guys. Just before we go on, I have a couple of things that I need to remind you about. If you missed last week, please, we spoke with David Nahi from Victory House, and we had an amazing interview about what happens inside a rehab. And guys, that is a men's rehab, and they do have beds available. So if you are out there and you're considering rehab and you're looking at changing your life from bad to amazing, that is the place to go, because they do an incredible job at helping you recreate your life and your future ahead. So Victory House is the place to go, and if you've missed the video, it should be on our videos list on Facebook, so have a look for that. Just want to remind you about our fundraiser in Adelaide. We're so excited about what's going on in Adelaide, and we have some really special announcements to make in relation to Adelaide, but I'll be doing a live cross next week from Adelaide, so I will leave that special announcement to air then. But we have some amazing people coming on board in Adelaide to help the cause. So there is going to be a fundraiser in Adelaide. It's called Sparkle with Suzette. So if you are in Adelaide, guys, and you are concerned about the drug problem, specifically the ice problem in the area that we work in, and you want to see change in your community, or you want to protect your loved ones from this drug and the future generation from being impacted by this drug, you need to support this particular fundraiser, because they're raising funds in order to educate more youth in relation to the drug ice. Are we building a house over there? Sounds like we're building a house over there. Sorry, I get distracted really easy. So that fundraising event this weekend on the 10th and 11th of November in Adelaide, and it's called Sparkle with Suzette. The details are on our events page. So go into our events section on our Facebook and on our web page. So that's www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au, and you will have a look and see where get the details of where and what time and so forth. But it's on the 10th and 11th of November. Adelaide, get down there and support the cause. They're doing amazing work, the presenters there, in rolling out the program. So I just wanted to remind you about that. The Neo product line. Hey guys, have you seen these?
Yeah, they look great. Yeah.
This one's my favourite, right? Because right on the rim, and I don't know if you could, let me bring it up to you. Right on the rim, and tell me if you can't see it. Can you see it?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. You've got Neo written right along there, and you've got your Neo there, and at the back as well, you have Neo.
Yeah.
Not even once. So that's I love this particular one, but the young dudes and the young girls, they love this flat cap thing. What's the story with that? Like, it's got a flat cap. You can't really the sun comes in on the side, you got to bend it. But look at that, that's amazing. And that's KB Supplies. They've been amazing in helping us produce at this brand, and it is on our shop, I believe. Is that right, Leanne? It's on our shop already, I think, for purchase, for pre-orders. So we haven't actually run a line of in production yet. We are talking to some sponsors. So if you are a potential sponsor and you're thinking, hey, I want to help this cause and I want to be involved and I want to have my name attached to something like that. So we do have a whole range. So there's singlets that we're going to be putting in gyms, t-shirts, there's a sports bag, there's a drink bottle, but you can have your logo here. So if I'm talking to you, get in touch with us, please. You can do that through private message. And there's different sponsorship packages, but that particular brand, is open to a corporate sponsor to come on board with. So we have our Neo brand cup, not even once being the message on there, and no to ice. And I reckon it's cool because it's black, and it's got the web page there, so you never ever forget where to call or how to get in touch with us if you should need help. guys, ice is on the streets, it is on the rise, and we want to protect people out there and your loved ones. It can happen to anybody. It happened to me. It's not just the low socio-economic areas. It's not just the people that you think, they have troubled families. Of course that happened to them. It doesn't. That's not how ICE works, right? It doesn't discriminate, and it can happen to anybody. And our heart is to protect by education and raising awareness about it, talking to people about the different forms it comes in, how it can be distributed, what it actually does to the body, to the brain. The myth that you can just do it once. And that you're going to be okay, and we just really want to show the impact of that, and making those kind of choices, because as you know, previously I raised 2 kids. I was a mum. I was successful in life, and my life turned into hell very, very quickly, and destroyed my health and a lot of my life at the time. But and that the same thing happened with our guest tonight, who's going to be talking very, very shortly, and I will introduce him. And he had a successful career and a family, and ICE came in and just really had a go and stopped everything in his life at a halt, and I just want to raise that point, because it can happen to anyone. Have you protected your loved ones? Have you protected? Is your kids protected? They don't listen to parents or to police or to authorities saying don't do drugs. That isn't going to help, guys. Yeah, they're going to get curious, and they're going to be handed something, like a pipe was handed to me. I didn't even know it was ice. I didn't even know what was going to happen. Yeah, so our heart is to really raise awareness, educate your kids and the next generation, but your loved ones, in your workplace, protect your workplace. There's so much you can do. So please come on our website and have a look at what you can do to help.
Commercial break. I'm interfering. I'm doing this I just want to take this moment. Sorry, Andrea. We're going to do a commercial break. Is this getting on right? Please, Stephen, can everybody see what I'm holding up on the camera? Up. Perfect. Do you see what this is, folks? This is Creating Change Award winner, Andrea Simmons. I'm going to embarrass her now.
No.
Couple of weeks ago, Andrea won this award at the Businesswomen's Award.
We all know this award goes to all of us, all of the AARC people, all of the people that are getting involved out there. The change starts with us. And you know what? The change starts with you, because people matter, lives matter, the next generation matters, Leanne, and this goes to all of the people that have been involved in AARC in creating change. I received that on all of our behalf, and it's an amazing acknowledgement to what we do, because every part of AARC makes a difference. Whether you're a family member that's picking up a phone from lived experience and talking to somebody else, whether you're on the other side of the care team, this woman is amazing. And she picks up the phone and answers all the crisis, people with crisis going on out there, trying to help people, send them to family support, and putting buddies in place for people that want to come out of addiction. So this award goes to all of us, guys, and everybody that's prepared to make a difference. Get on board, join the AARC Army, and help us educate the future of tomorrow. Help us educate maybe your grandchildren, or maybe your sister or your mother. You don't know, who it's going to attack next. So thank you, Leanne, for sharing that. I love you to bits.
I love you too, Andrea. I just want to honour you, because if it wasn't for your obedience, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So thank you. Thank you from the depths of our heart, because I know sometimes you wonder how things are going and things don't always go our way. But, it's a challenge out there. But you are saving lives too by putting this whole AAIC together, guys. And I know the team from around Australia would share with me in saying, thank you, Andrea, we do honour you for that. Because you're the head honcho. You're the one that we come to and you know exactly what to do and what to say.
Okay. Interview time now.
Okay. Bye, guys.
It is in unity that we achieve more, guys, and thank you, Leanne, for that. You're just beautiful. It is in unity that we achieve more, and I'm blessed to have a second chance at life, yeah. And we've got to make it count. and that's where we're at. But tonight, we are so blessed to have an amazing man. He's very, very nervous, by the way. So I've told him not to be nervous because he's going to share from his heart. And it's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal to sit here and reach out to 22,000 people and share your heart and what happened to you, which is, nobody likes to air their dirty laundry and say, yeah, I went down this path. I didn't start my life thinking, when I grow up, I want to be an ice addict, That's not how it happens. And there's so much attached to what happened. There's shame, there's guilt, there's stuff that you have to work through early stages of recovery. But when you come and really bring that forward and sit on this couch, it is because your heart is to share your story from a place where maybe something I say will make a difference out there, and people won't go down that path that I went down, and maybe I can help change somebody's choice from picking up a pipe or a needle or a pill or any form of ice, or reconsider drugs as a whole, and which can really destroy their lives very, very quickly. So we are honoured to have a new member in Queensland office, a new member of AAIC, and I'd like to welcome Glenn. Thank you so much. So this is Glenn, everybody. Say hello to everybody.
Hi everybody, how are you?
And Glenn's just joined us, so he's yet to do his training, and but yeah, his heart's really to share, to be able to impact lives out there from lived experience.
Sure
so
is.
thank you.
Sure is.
So Glenn, I know a little bit about you, but people at home haven't heard your story, and so I kind of, maybe if you could give us a little bit of a brief, in a nutshell, of what happened, where you were at in life, and how you got introduced to ice first.
Sure. Andrea, used to have a successful computer business here on the Gold Coast back in the early 2000s. And a friend of mine said to me one day, I was under a bit of stress from the business, and he said to me, why don't you try this? So me being naive, I didn't think it would be addictive like it is and so forth, and it hadn't long been in the country, so we didn't know a lot about it back then. So yeah, I gave it a try and felt euphoric, and I thought everything was great, nothing was a problem. So I then sort of, within a week or so, I started to have another try, and it just led into more progressive use, and I ended up going down the slippery slope and got very addicted. To the fact, similar to yourself, where I was using about $500 worth a day.
Yeah.
But I had a wife and 2 kids in a computer business of 10 years.
Wow.
And lost a lot.
Yeah.
And my life just went spiralling down from there.
Yeah, and it's very quickly as well, Glenn, isn't it, that it just takes over. And you don't realise, guys, that, you think, I don't have a problem, I'm just kind of using recreationally, everybody does something, but that's not the case. Before you know it, it does take over your whole being, and that's all you live for.
It is. It's unfortunate, but you get to a point where you need it to function, to be able to get out of bed.
Yeah.
But it's the thing that's put you in bed and put you into that frame of mind, and it becomes that catch-22. It's an evil necessity. It's not a very good thing at all. It's the worst one I've ever seen in my 49 years of life.
And we hear that a lot, Glenn. I take people into detox often, and I hear things like, oh, why not heroin? Why ice? And I think, what? And even like I was with some ambos the other day, last weekend, and they said to me, heroin was a different thing. We could fix that, and we could give them, some uppers, and they'd be okay. They come to again, But with this stuff, this is, we don't know how to tackle this. This is horrific,
There's not, like you say, with heroin, they have the methadone program and so forth. There are other ways, and there are sort of what you call fixes for it, I suppose.
Yep.
But with the ice, there is no fix. It's just an evil drug.
Yeah. And I think with the heroin, it doesn't eat away at your organs and the neurological pathways of your brain. It obviously gives you, the feeling that heroin does, but it doesn't actually eat away at, it's not a synthetic drug that eats away at your organs.
Yeah.
Ice is different to any
Very
other
true.
drug. And you can read about that in the National Task Force Report 2015 that was produced by the government. It'll tell you that ice is like no other drug, and the recovery of ice of people who have been addicted to ice is like no other drug as well. So the time frame of recovery and the long term effects attached with that, which some of the effects that was. Somebody was trying to ring me. So
they're probably watching us.
Yeah,
stream.
well, thanks very much. Please don't ring right now. Can you ring after 8? Thank you. I'm not really sure how to stop that from happening, but it looks like we've got an amazing person that's coming on board with some camera equipment that we're going to be able to overcome this issue, guys. So the sound and the lighting and the angles are going to get better. So we're really, really excited to have an amazing person on board soon, and I will introduce him at the appropriate time. So let's continue with what happened, Brad. Glenn, I was just talking to Brad, so
That's okay.
hippocampus, hello. So tell me something. Were you using drugs when you were younger? Like, were you a regular drug user before you picked up ice?
Yes, I was. I was a regular marijuana pot smoker.
Yep.
I'd been smoking pot since quite an early age. It was introduced into my life around about the age of 13. So, but managed to keep that under control and basically only on the marijuana. I've never been a heavy drinker or a drinker at all. But I feel that if you're involved in the drug scene, it's only going to sort of give you the avenues to the heavier drugs.
Yep.
Don't let anyone say it's only marijuana, it's only pot, you won't. It does lead up.
Absolutely.
It will give you that
It does.
stepping
It's a
stone.
doorway. But you know what, guys? What I do want to make you aware of that right now is that even marijuana in itself, okay, long-term use does give you symptoms of schizophrenia, okay?
Yes.
But I know for a fact that they're lacing marijuana with ice nowadays on our streets.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And very, very quickly, you have a raging ice habit, and you're not really aware of why. And because ice hijacks the frontal lobe of your brain, where logic, rational decisions take place. When they say, I don't have any more of that stuff was special, but I do have this stuff you can smoke, and it's ice, okay, and you very quickly make a transfer over to a raging ice habit, and they've got return business and, daily, and it's out of control, so be very, very aware that this is happening. Don't think that it won't happen to you, because this is happening every day out there, and to people like you and like me.
Offering free samples.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way. It's nothing for them to offer a free sample because they know the return that's going to give them. And
That's right.
If you get offered a free sample of something, it's definitely the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, and even with the girls, they're offering the girls, just come over, you can have some of this, and then before you know it, you're actually trafficking because you need it, and you're delivering, and you're dealing, and you're used for prostitution. Like, that's a huge one in ice world for women. So I know one lady that was locked in a house for 6 years. And was under the influence of ice for 6 years, but she got beat up and raped, and it was a mess. I'm sure she didn't start out like that. It just started out with the one use.
Yeah, that's right.
Try some of this, and that's how it happens, guys. Just be really aware. So you embarked on using ice. Like, what age were you when that happened?
I would have been in my late 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, around about 38 or so. So from there on, I continued to use and it just got progressively worse. But yeah, I started late, so
happens to anyone.
Not it doesn't discriminate.
It's not just the young ones.
That's right, and successfully at business. And at first, when I was having it, I was doing a lot of hours being my own business, so I was finding that it was good because I could work during the day, then I could come back down at night and work at night. But you lose you've got no time management, you lose full sense of time, and you just you think you're making progress, but you're not. You're just chasing things around. It's a very cruel thing.
It's torture. It's like a bit of a torment, You're just going around in circles. You think you're getting forward and you're achieving things, but you're really not.
Oh, no.
It's like an entrapment. It really is an entrapment, guys. And you know what? You think that you're going to have fun on it, but it's not fun. You know,
No.
that's not fun, being in that torment and torture and chasing your tail, and, you know, all you do is look out a window, or you keep continuously doing the same thing, repetitive movement or action again and again and again. And, you know, ice becomes your life, your air. It becomes, you know, your wife, your husband, everything that, you know,
Oh,
it becomes your God.
You can't live without it.
No.
Once you're addicted, you cannot live without it.
Yeah.
And the only people that benefit from it are the dealers, and they're the ones that make you money.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time going, I had to go and see my dealer, and I rang her, and she was at the poker machines that's my money going into there.
Yep.
She's having the ball.
Yeah. And
At
addiction.
my expense.
Ice addiction. There's a lot of gambling associated with that, isn't it?
Huge.
It's like the repetitive action, you know, of gambling, and, you know, I don't know.
Well,
how
it's
it
one of
goes
those.
hand in hand.
Well, because what it is there's a couple of reasons I feel it goes hand in hand. One, most of the time you'll find people are on it at night, and it keeps you up so long, and it keeps you going. So it's one of the only things around at night to do. Is poker machines. They're open till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's true, yeah.
And then it's all the bells and whistles and the lights.
Yes.
That attract you, and it's just that euphoria of winning as well when you do win, and you think you've won, but for the last month you've put all the money in to the machines, and then you think you just got a $500 jackpot. I won.
Yeah.
You won nothing.
Yeah,
You
that's
won
right.
nothing.
Yeah.
And then you win that $500, and where do you go? You go.
Yeah, get a score again.
Yeah.
And you know, it's double whammy, isn't it, really? So you get addicted to gambling, but you're also addicted to this drug. So
Absolutely.
it's a horrific entrapment. Ice is an entrapment, and it brings nothing but destruction every way you look.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know, my family, I was lucky. You know, I lost my daughters for years. I've only just now been starting to have contact with my oldest daughter, and that's been 7 years or so now. My father supported me, but, you know, I've seen people lose their families. They get cut off completely. My father had cut me off to the point where I...
Got a question.
Yep.
It's an in-depth question.
I still have friends that use ice? Yes, I do. I'm not around them. I could be around them, but I choose not to. They live in Victoria, where I live, and that was one of the ways I got off of ice, was to drive. I got in my car one day, and I said no more.
Yeah.
And I drove out of the country town that I lived in, and I've never looked back.
Wow.
And that's because it was the environment and the people I was hanging around. They weren't friends.
Yeah.
They were just people that wanted to, you know,
Use
sort
together,
of, use together and unfortunately do crime together. And I drove out. I've never heard from them. I didn't change my phone number, but I never heard from them. And then I eventually did change my phone number because I thought that was another thing. But it was the environment and the people you're around. And unfortunately, guys, sometimes the only way you're going to be able to do this is through rehabilitation or your environment.
A major change, you know. I did the same, Glenn. I moved state. You know, I came back from my addiction was in Melbourne, and I just came back to the Gold Coast, and you know, it was a total turnaround of environment. But you know, ice is here too, and it is, you know, it chases you down.
It does.
It'll come in front of you, but at least it gives you a reprieve, you know, a period of time where you can, you know, detox and start to recover, and your brain comes back where you can start thinking for yourself again and going, what am I doing? This is not what I wanted for my life. And when the frontal lobe starts to kick in again...
That's right. It takes a little while.
It does, doesn't it?
It's not easy.
No.
You know, like there's a lot of, you know, withdrawals and the sweats and the pains in the tummy and the headaches and so forth. And my father even said to me, you know, wherever you go, it doesn't matter where you go, there's always drugs. I said, yeah, I know that, Dad, but I know I'd be happier on the Gold Coast. The country town I lived in was a very cold, miserable town with not a lot to offer, and you wake up and you think, well, what is there today, you know? So, whereas with up here on the Gold Coast, there's the beach and it's just the environment.
Different environment,
and I've got a perfect example is Ben Cousins.
Yeah.
If you know Ben Cousins, the footballer, brilliant footballer.
Yeah.
he got him, as we all know, got himself into trouble. He got away from Perth, and he looked like he was nearly going to be able to clean up.
Yeah.
Ben goes back to Perth,
Yeah.
and now Ben's in more trouble than he can ask for.
By the way, I've been trying to chase him down, guys. I really would like to speak to Ben, and you know, we've been able to change and turn our life around. I think he just needs people who have been able to do that. Yeah, he needs us, and we can, you know, we can show him the way. So if you have connection with Ben Cousins, and I have spoken to his manager before, or if you're his family member, or you know how we can possibly, I can sit in front of him, have a conversation with him. I know that we can help.
I'd like to sit down with Ben too and tell him my story, because he's a damn good bloke. I met him once many years ago when I was in Perth, but unfortunately, I'm not sure 100% correct, but last I heard he was in jail.
Yeah, he was in jail, and then he came out, but it's various times. So it's a sad story, guys. He was, you know, he's a beautiful person, and he's entrapped in addiction, and it is a horrible place to live. You need it. You need the drug like you need air, and you'll do whatever it takes to get it. And coming off it is incredibly difficult. I remember, you know, let's talk about some of the side effects of coming off, Glenn. But I remember so many times I came close to suicide. You know, that this was just too hard. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. Like, you know, the depression and stuff that comes along with the early stages of recovery. How did you work through that up here? Like, did you have people around you that helped you?
I've got a brother up here.
Yeah.
I have a fair bit to do with. We're fairly close, but I will be honest with you and say that I probably didn't find it as difficult as I thought I was going to when I came up here, because I'd lived here in the past, so I did know my way around. It wasn't just a completely new town, but I just set my mind that I wasn't going to look for it, and then just progressively got better. Just setting myself little goals by, you know, one day at a time.
Yes.
Going for walks, just, you know, when I could see myself starting to get better, it just got it easier. But probably my main side effects were sort of depression. I'm bipolar as well.
Yep.
So, and I'm quite heavily medicated for my bipolar. So it played up with that quite bad. And we had to get me back on track with all my meds and that there as well when I came off of it.
Yeah,
when I got
because it
up
throws your whole body out, your whole system out. So if you have, you know, an imbalance, forget it. Like, that's going to skyrocket. It's going to be highlighted. Everything. You know.
Oh, it's like when you're with bipolar, you go you're manic. Well, it's like you're manic all the time.
Yep.
You know, when you're on the ice, it's just, it's incredible. It's and you think, oh, this is a good feeling. I look back at it now and I think, oh God, how did I do that to myself? You know, it's not a good feeling at all. It's not. You know, and then you have those binges where you're on for 3 to 5 days, and then you crash and burn. Yeah. And you turn your phone up, no one can get to you. You put your head in the sand, you hide, and you sleep for days. Yeah. It's no life. No. And you can't work. You can't you know, you can't. People can tell that there's something wrong with you, whether they know it's ice or not. They can just tell you're not normal.
Yeah, but you know what happens? A lot of people think, oh, I'm still working and I can maintain this, but that only happens for a period of time.
Oh yeah.
It comes to a point where everything you lose control, and you lose control of time. You're living in a different realm of existence, and you lose control of your thought process, and even you don't know whether what you're looking at is real anymore or what you're hearing is happening, and you lose contact with reality, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you lose contact with reality. You think, like I say, you the euphoria makes you feel like nothing's a problem. Yeah. You know, you don't grasp reality properly. You know, you don't. I can't think of the wording for it, but you don't have any. You don't have really any respect. You just, everything's too easy, and when it's not really, but you just think it is. And when you do come down, you think, oh, did I do that, or did I say that, or was that really how I acted, or you know, and
And then all the guilt, shame, you know, all the things that have happened in that period, you just want to run and hide. And the emotion of you know, of what you've just been through is so big that you just hit up again to cover that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how you get stuck in that space, because every time you try and stop, the mountain that's about to fall on top of you with the things that have happened while you're using is just so big that it's just easier to pick up another pipe. You know, so if I know that there are a couple of people that I'm talking to and helping in detox at the moment. Don't give up, guys. You know, I know that you're doing detox at home because you couldn't get in. If you're watching the show tonight, don't give up. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard, but you can get through it.
You can.
We did it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can get. You've just got to stick at it, because you know what? You're worth it.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not worth that life of destruction, and you the end result, Glenn, of you know, this drug, life on this drug really is death. You're going to end up dead, losing your kids, your family. You're going to lose your health. You're going to end up in prison or with serious mental health issues for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know,
And it doesn't matter how you use it. Even you think even the worst way to use it, well, people would think would be the intravenous way, and you can still get off it from that. Like I'll be honest, I was using intravenous. I started on a pipe and went to intravenous. I was using 500 a day, like yourself, and I would have used more if I could have got more.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So don't think that you can't do it, because everybody there you can do it.
Yeah.
It's just it's not hard. You think it's hard.
Yeah.
You've just got to be positive
Pressing.
and be strong.
And you know what, Glenn? You know, us that have come out and on the other side and go, thank God that we're alive and that we've come out of that, and I never want to look at that again. We're here to help you. You know, we are here.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it alone. You know, we want to help you walk that first stage, you know, the early stages of recovery, and help and show you, give you some tools on how we did it and what worked, and what, you know, walking on the beach, going to NA, you know, getting a sponsor at NA, going to see a drug and alcohol counsellor. That's really important, guys, because you got to, you know, it's important to break down the underlying issues that come up through addiction and prior to addiction. Yeah. So you know, some of those issues could be low self-esteem, you know, I'm not worthy, I'm not worth it. That's all a lie, yeah, because we're all worth it.
Everybody's
we're
worth
all worth it. And so we've got to work through all of that. Where did that come from? And that's, see, we aren't, like what happened was we went into ice addiction. We're not that. We are a person, yeah? We are a person like everybody else, but that happened to you, and we've got to learn to move on and learn from that, and we can come out the other side, and we can recover and get our lives back.
Oh, you definitely.
And further to that, do something good to help community.
Yeah, well, that's exactly
others,
why I've come to Andrea, and I'm out there, I'm here now with Andrea to help and try to help anybody. If I can help somebody, it'll make it all worthwhile.
That's awesome.
Do not be ashamed.
No.
Don't be ashamed to talk, to ring,
Yep.
to get involved, in touch with Andrea and the services of AAIC, because there's nothing to be ashamed about. It doesn't discriminate. You're not the only body. It's the biggest epidemic we're having in this country, and you are far from alone.
Yeah, amen.
So be proud of yourself, be strong, and if you want to do this, you'll do it.
That's it, and it is making a decision. That's it. I've had enough. I don't want to go down that path, and just reaching out. So the way that you can reach out to us, guys, you can send us a private message on Facebook. You can contact us on our webpage, www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. There's always somebody there to answer your message. There's a little icon there that says chat to someone now, and you can chat to somebody live there. The other way is to contact us by phone, and that number is 0756656063. So if you're in addiction, contemplating change, that is the number to call. We also do have a family support line. So if you're a family member with a loved one that's entrapped in this horrific cycle, you don't know what to do, and you need some help and some support and some advice, please call us. We have our family support number is 0481 844 555. Now, just so you know, the phone number of the office here that I gave you, we are national, so we do have offices in Victoria, in Adelaide, in Cairns. We have people in Sydney and people in WA, as well as the Gold Coast, and in Brisbane as well. So if you are contemplating change and you need help, don't think that you have to come all the way to the Gold Coast. The number is a Gold Coast number, but we'll connect you with your state office for support. So that number again is 075665 6063. So back to Glenn's story. Glenn, I really want to know, first, what happened with you and your family? Did your family get angry at you, or did you let them know, hey, I'm using drugs and that's just the way that it is, or what happened? How did it happen? How did they find
my
out?
family, as in my parents, sort of things.
Well, yeah, and your kids and your wife.
Well, my wife,
were you hiding it,
I
or?
was when I was using, and she found out about it. So I came home from work one day actually, and she'd packed up here on the Gold Coast, taken the 2 kids, and gone back to Perth, where her family were. And this was after 17 years of marriage, a 10-year business. We'd been together for 19 years. I was out in the shed with a few mates where I lived, and we were smoking the pipe, and I realised what had happened. I'd gone inside and realised what had happened. Well, all the mates quickly put their hands in and that, and we got enough money together. I was on an aeroplane that night over to Perth. I found her, and she gave me the ultimatum to pack up and sell up and move over to Perth. So I did, and we lasted another couple of years. We lasted a year in Perth, and then it wasn't so good, so we went to Victoria. But the whole time I was still using, but discreetly, and she didn't think I was. I'd say I was going to score marijuana and score ice, and so it's sort of one thing led to another from there. And then once I got back to Victoria, I started losing the weight. You get the gauntness, and you get the telltale signs.
Yeah.
You know, you think you're
hiding it.
Like my dad always said to me, you know, he said, you used to tell me you were, you know, like he knows now, you know, at 110 kilos.
But you look good, you know, you can look in people's eyes, there's soul, there's spirit, there's, you know, there's feeling again.
They're white, you know, and they're not glassy, or they're not, but, and Dad always said to me, you know, you think you're fooling me, but I always knew, and he was always able to tell him. Like, though he was disappointed, and so was my mum. They both reacted differently. My mum lives in a different part of Australia, so she wasn't too much involved. I've got a good relationship with Mum, but we sort of not the best, not the closest. But Dad was sort of more there for me, but he was more disappointed. But he was never going to cut me off and just leave me out to lurch. He was always going to be there for me. He cut me off financially, as in handing me cash.
Yep, and this is exactly what we teach our families. Don't enable. You can love your loved one, you can love them, but don't enable them to continue using. Because what happens is Dad loves you, and then you come, but Dad, I need money for the rent, and my car's broken down. I need you to give me the money to fix it, and we will use it on gear, you know, and it's just, you know, so your dad did the right thing.
Yeah, he just buy me the food, or buy me the cigarettes, or buy me, you know, sort of thing, or help me pay the rent or whatever, but he'd actually do it.
Yeah.
He'd come to the realisation, and he realised what was happening.
Yes.
And just totally cut me off from the cash, financial cash.
And I bet he encouraged you to go, you know, step into recovery. You know,
he tried. He tried many a times. But you know, I was in a position. I was living in a town where I wasn't happy. I hadn't, you know, I'd had a new relationship, but unfortunately, I introduced her, where she was a total anti-drug person all her life. So for her family to see what happened to her, they were very disappointed as well, and I wasn't the most popular. So again, that's when I knew that I'd done the wrong thing by her, and I brought her. I put her in the car with me, and we both drove out of Ballarat. Oh, no, I've told you, but we both drove out of town and come up here, and so.
Turned your life around.
But no, Dad was great, but disappointed, and the family were always supportive. And you've got to support. They're a victim, like they're not. It's hard to describe, but we're victims of our own fault. It's our own fault for doing what we've done.
Yeah.
But then.
But you're entrapped by
Yeah.
this drug, so they're sick, right? So
That's correct. Yeah.
the thing, though, you know, you've got to be. It's a very fine line because there are, you know, sometimes families have children, young children,
Mhm.
that while they're using, they are impacting on those children's lives. So it's a very fine line, and every situation is different where that boundary lies, yeah? But, you know, please don't let go of your loved one. You know, be their hippocampus while they can't. You know, I love you, I don't love what you're doing. It's destroying you. You are my baby. I'm seeing my daughter or my son being eaten away by these chemicals. Bring them out. Bring out the chemicals, you know, acetone, Drano, countertop.
Yeah.
You know, you want to talk ice, you know, this is what you're doing. You know, get some information, get some support, families, because what those boundaries look like for your loved one. So that, you know, sometimes I've worked with people that you know, the families have gone, no, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this anymore, because they have destroyed everything in the parent. You know, that until that person is ready for change, they can't sit there and watch their loved one eat themselves up, destroy themselves from inside out.
That's
And
right.
it's so hurtful to a family member, especially as a parent, that they have to look away and they go, look, here's the lifeline, please call Andrea. I want you to get help. I can't watch this, right?
Mhm.
And that's where we come in.
That's exactly
and,
right.
and all our buddies and all our presenters that have been through and come out the other end are waiting to support, you know, people that want to change their life. But sometimes it's like being cruel to be kind.
Yep.
You know, you can't go, yeah, here's everything you need to keep doing what you're doing. They have to come to the end of themselves and feel that they don't want to do this anymore, and that they need to change. And sometimes it takes being
It does,
in that
and
position.
sometimes it takes you know, like your family member might be doing crime and so forth, might be having a court hearing coming up, and there's a chance they might go to jail.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes it takes that. Jails aren't the best, but it can be the wake-up call as well some people need.
Yep.
I had the wake-up call, unfortunately. The judge said to me, what the hell are you doing at 43 years old
Wow.
doing ice? I'm now going to have to put you in jail.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I ended up doing a small jail term in Victoria.
Wow.
And no, you don't want to go to jail.
No.
It's unpleasant. But,
Wow.
and with my partner, also, if you're with a partner and you're using ice together, I'm still with that same person now, and we're
Wow.
madly in love. I love her dearly, and we're together still. We got off it together.
Wow.
We were able to, and all it took was just some strength and just, I don't know if we used each other, we bounced off each other. So, but, you know, some people say you can't, you know, they turn them into rehabs and they split them.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you can do it with
If
a partner.
both decide that they want to change, and both are in that same place, yes, we want to stop this lifestyle, or destroying our relationship, our life, and are both dedicated at the same time, it can work. You
Very
know,
much so.
that wasn't my story. Fortunately, you know, my ex-partner stayed in Ice World, and it's very, very sad. You know, had to walk away, and you know that he's deteriorating, and losing his mind and life. You know, but that everybody has their own choice. You know, on what, you know, what they want for their future. You know, some people want to take their life, and we've got to respect that. You know, unfortunately, it's not what we want.
No, it's not what we want to hear, and so. But again, that's why you ring. If you want to do it, we're out there to help.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about. We work with some lawyers, and I'm going to grab. I hope I say this right. In Queensland here, in Brisbane, we work with Rarity lawyers, and Robert helps us a lot with people that are going to court, that are on ice, and what and other issues, but specifically with ice, has been amazing helping us with talking to the courts about it, using that as leverage. So it's either you're going to jail or you're going to change your life, and see if we can engage in to help the person that's facing charges, whether we can work with them as an alternative to going to jail. It's not nice going to jail. I want to know, like, I kind of quizzed you a bit when you first came in about what was it like going into jail. Like, I think that was my fear about going into rehab, and I spoke about that last week in Victory House about going into rehab. Well, I'm not getting locked up for 12 months, but you know what? You know how many people get locked up because of this drug? Like, you end up in jail, you end up locked up, sometimes in mental institutions for life. Yeah. Yeah,
you can end up in a worse lockup than in a rehab.
Yeah. So what was that like? What was that like? What happened? Like,
it was scary.
Scary?
Yeah, I was very scared.
Was it cold? Was it dirty?
It was.
Yeah.
I was beaten up the first night I arrived. Mistaken identity. Someone thought that I was somebody else that was previously in jail, and copped a little bit of a hiding. So, but I seen some very ugly things in jail, and it wasn't pleasant, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I would never go back there. No, I wouldn't do anything to put myself in a position to go back there. And I think that was one of the good elements that got me onto the wanting to leave.
Yep.
I kept telling my father when he came down to visit me when I was in jail, Dad, can you have me organised that when you pick me up when I released, to drive out of this town and drive to Queensland? And he was determined that he thought, doesn't matter where you go, you'll find drugs everywhere, like he always said. And I said, yeah, I know you will if you want them. But he was determined to bring me back to his place and talk.
Question.
Yeah, it was very hard to get to. Yeah, I was like, appreciate that. I think I was a very responsible bloke, but yeah, again, like the judge said, what were you doing? The ice numbed me. The ice just absolutely. I just didn't care. I had blinkers on, and some of the things that I did when I had eyes on, I won't even repeat. And I wasn't proud of. It wasn't me. Yeah. It was a completely different person. But when just getting back to what I was saying, when my father was determined for me to go back to his place when I left jail and actually live with my father for a while and get, I'd been in jail, so I was off the drugs. No. Jail is one of the easiest places to get drugs.
I've heard that. Hey, I've heard that. I've known people that have gone to jail after cleaning up for 12 months. They face their charges, go into jail. 10 minutes after they get in there, guess what? They're offered ice.
Absolutely, you're offered. I know the exact words were, "What's your poison?"
Yeah.
When I got off the bus and got into jail, you can name it. The public, they're owned privately, and there's government.
Yep.
The private ones, where the wardens, they bring it in.
Yeah.
They'll give you mobile phones to use. But I went back to my father's, and within 6 to 9 months of being back at my father's, I was back to where I was. And if I hadn't stayed there, I was going to keep going.
And
I was going to end up back in jail.
Yeah, it's that easy because you're going back into that environment, and your friends are using, people around you using, your memory. Like, I don't know about you, but I often had I had like the whole visual, feel of being using again. What do you call that?
Deja vu.
Not a deja vu, but like when you relive it, when you relive that.
Trigger.
That moment, and constant triggers of when I was in Melbourne, of being in certain places where I was using, and you can taste it, and you're kind of like go seeking it,
Smell it,
It's extremely difficult to actually break that, and it's a matter of catching it when that happens. A matter of catching that thought process and going, no, where did you take me? Is it on live still?
Oh, it's frozen. Hang on. Let's see if you're still on. Yep, it's on.
Can you check your computer that was still on?
It says on there that you're on.
So we've had people trying to ring again. We are going to get a camera
Yes.
in here.
Cool.
So, where were we? I've lost track now.
About triggers and
Triggers, yeah, you kind of relive. So to come back into that environment where you were, it's quite possible you're going to relapse. It's not wise, guys. Don't think you can do it. It's not that easy to break the cycle. You've actually got to change things dramatically. Yeah, you've got to change your thought process. You've got to change your habit. You've got to change your friends. You've got to change your number. You've got to change the way you look at things. And your environment is a huge part of you've got to restructure your whole life.
Because they're not your friends, they're associates.
Yeah.
If they're involved in the ice circle which you're in, they're not friends.
No.
Because trust me, the minute you leave, you won't ever hear from them.
Yeah, that's right.
And then while you're in that circle, at the time when I was doing ice and that, I got to a stage where I was a bit of a go-to man, and yeah, I was trafficking because I had to.
Yep.
That was one of
Good
my
what you got
means.
to do to survive.
That's
right?
right.
To get your gear.
And you'd get phone calls and they'd ring you all the time, but it's, the minute you didn't want, I got away from it, not one rang me to say, how you going, you doing all right, you okay, Nah, they're not your friends, they're associates, just people that are in the group, and that's the group you need to get away from.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't ever think you can't make other friends and better friends, because there are always more people and new people out there to be friends with.
That's right, and they have positive things happening, and they want to see you do well and achieve things, and get all the things that that you need and that you wanted in your life, and to see you happy. That's what friends are. Supporting each other and doing life together. Not I'm just getting a memory of what happened. I remember waking up after I stopped breathing, but I was put in the back end of a room in a house where I could have been dead. The door was shut. I could have been dead for all my friends cared. But that's not friends. They're not friends. They're people that are using and that are hijacked by this drug themselves. And that you can't stay there because of friends and people that you're using with, because it'll kill you. It'll really.
So
kill
imagine
you.
if you had a past.
Yeah.
What would they have done?
Who knows?
They could have probably dumped
Probably
you,
buried me.
and that's not a friend. Yeah,
No,
that's right.
That's right.
They wouldn't have kept. They would have been more worried about themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what they would have. Yeah, that's right.
So tell me, what how you mentioned before, Glenn, you didn't talk to your daughters for a long time, but now you're starting to have a relationship with them again.
Mhm.
How did they find out you were using, and what happened?
Their mother. I actually asked her not to tell them that I was in jail, but she did. She went ahead and told them. Well, it wasn't an ugly split, but I've found her to be. She's poisoned them a little bit. The person I am, I brought them up for the first 10 years of their life, running my business and everything like that. But the minute she had them by themselves over in Perth with her parents around, they've been poisoned. They've asked me questions, and the questions aren't true, but I've given them my answer, but they believe the mother's side of it and so forth. So I'm not sure, because I haven't talked to them and I've only just started, and I mean just started, I'm talking within the last couple of months.
I'm so glad that you're talking again, because you are a beautiful, warm soul, and such. You let out such a loving air about you. I'd hate to see your daughters miss out on that.
That's why I'm glad. I wanted to make this year the year where I would be in touch, because I've got the oldest daughter's coming up to be 21, and the youngest daughter's 18 now, but they're both going to be coming up into their getting married and that, and I don't want to miss out on any more than I have. So I'm hoping that, just slowly but surely. I had text messages with her last night, the oldest daughter. I probably talk once every couple of weeks with her now. So.
We have some of our presenters have lost contact with their kids, but then they've been able to have an amazing relationship again, of a bond that I've gone, wow, like you guys are so close, you know. And I lost touch with my kids for a few years too, and I'm close to my kids now, and it's like you can get that back, guys,
Sometimes it takes a bit of age. I've found that's why they're coming back to me now, sort of thing, just they're growing.
And plus you've recovered, nobody wants to live in that life of, constant, anxiety and depression and, sleeping and erratic behaviour and all of that.
It's terrible. You don't want to, that's one of the reasons why I sort of drifted from my daughters at the start, was because I didn't want them to see the way I was and what I was doing. And because of that, then the contact of birthdays and Christmases started to go downhill a bit, and then the daughters started to think, doesn't Daddy love me anymore? And then I don't know what they were being told over there in Perth and so forth. So, but but now, like you say, I've fully recovered. I've been recovered now for 5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what was the trigger, Glenn? What was the actual trigger where you said, that's it, I've had enough, I'm driving out here and I'm not picking up ever again? What was that?
It wasn't.
There must have been a moment.
There wasn't really one deciding moment. When I got out of jail, I always wanted to get out of the town.
Yeah.
But financially, I had no money. I had no vehicle. And then after 9 months, my father got a loan for me and bought me a camper van, a proper decked out proper one.
What a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah, and the minute he bought me that, it then kicked in. I started then putting plans into place. I started doing things, getting myself organised. Got all my stuff out of self-storage and put it into my father's back shed and culled a lot of stuff that I didn't need, and just progressively got myself closer and closer to the day. And then just one day came around, and I was sort of, next week I'm going to get going, and it sort of, that week had come, and I sort of didn't, but I knew I was getting close. I knew I was getting, and then just all of a sudden, just, into the van I got and went around to my partner's place. She was living with her parents as well. We weren't living together at the time, but I'd rang her and said, get your bag ready. She was getting prepared. She sort of knew as well when it was going to, wasn't sure. And we jumped into the van and off we went.
Wow.
Drove up, and we had a ball driving up and stopping places and visiting places, and just, enjoying each other's company. And as our minds got clearer, things became more clearer, and reality started to hit, and we started to realise what we'd done, and we just enforced that on each other, and we really just supported each other a lot, and just it wasn't like when I said it wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy either. You still used to think about it, and you'd have, especially for the first 6 months, I'd have dreams, and I'd think back of different things of what I'd do, and having it, and but now it's not an issue.
Yeah.
You learn to grow. I think once an addict, always an addict to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You don't ever put yourself, once you're fully recovered, you don't ever put yourself right thick into an environment again. I don't think that's ever a good idea.
Never a good idea.
But, you don't need to either. If you're happy in life, then what's the point of going back into that environment if you're happy doing what you're doing?
But you're always, as an addict, you're always, and as a human being, Glenn, we can all fall, we can all fall, and, you don't want to put yourself in that environment. You don't want to put yourself at risk. Move forward in
absolutely.
life, and that is the thing. Catching it when you're having that thought, or when catching it. No, I know where you're going to take me to, and I don't want the outcome that you're going to give me, because I relapsed once, and I remember that it took me straight back to where I stopped, and with interest. It was like so much worse, and very, very quickly then my life went really, really out of control within the next 4 months. So it's not like, you can just do it just once to celebrate, forget it. But you know what, the good thing is about, like, the longer you are in recovery, the less times you do think about it.
Oh,
and,
yes.
it kind of spaces out,
Absolutely,
doesn't it? You
absolutely.
don't kind of think about it much. You get more against it as time goes on.
Oh, yeah.
As you start to recover, it gets easier.
Because we can talk about it now, whereas if I was back then, I couldn't talk about it without wanting it.
Yeah.
Whereas, so it does get easier in time.
Yes.
But just don't ever put yourself back into the thick of what you're doing, especially if you're a bad addict, and there's not really any good addicts.
Is there a good addict?
So, but now I'm living on the Gold Coast. I've got my own 2-bedroom flat where I used to live in a van.
Awesome.
I'm a sales rep for a national company.
Wow.
I travel.
Yep.
What
That's
could be better?
And now you're working with ARC.
And now I'm working with ARC.
Also, we're blessed to have you. Guys, thank you, Glenn, for sharing. I really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure.
Just before we wrap up, firstly, do you have any advice for people out there? One, for families who have loved ones that are struggling, and 2 for somebody that might be in addiction watching this and contemplating change?
Look, for the families, don't isolate, they've got a sickness and they need your support. They really need your support. That's the most important thing they need, is support. They don't need to be told that they're no good or they're worthless or you're a drug addict or a junkie or whatever. You need to support them and, be there for them. And to get advice on how to do that is where Andrea and the support from AAIC come into it. So please reach out to AAIC if you're needing to know any questions, but support is the biggest thing they need.
Yeah.
They don't need to be told any bad things. And as for a person looking to recover, if you're ready, that's the first step.
Yeah.
You wanting to do it is your first step. Your second step is picking up that phone and getting in touch with AAIC. You might even end up with me as a buddy.
That's it.
How would that be?
Awesome.
So look, just reach out if you really want to do it. It's possible.
Yeah.
I'm living proof.
Yeah.
I went from a business, a wife, 2 children, to nothing, to now having my own flat and my own beautiful life with a beautiful partner and a sales rep. I'm living proof. I was in jail. It's that way and back up, and it can be done.
Yeah.
Just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. That's all you have to do, and reach out to AAIC.
Reach out for help, because really we need people around us that can help light the burden and kind of guide the way with what worked and what hasn't worked for us. But definitely we're here to help, guys. The number to call is 0756656063. Now, right down the barrel, if you had one word to describe ICE, what would it be, Glenn?
Evil.
Everyone says that.
Evil.
We do not prompt you.
No, we don't.
No, it's
Everyone
evil.
every week says that
It
word.
is. It's like
Don't
hell.
do it.
Not even once. Do you know how that works?
Not even once.
Good night, guys. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to share this on your Facebook, please. You don't know who you can be helping. Awesome.
Thanks. Bye.